Feeder River, video 4, spring.
Look at that eye, What do you call this fish?
Onderbekvis, a sandfish. You see it's quite fat. I think it's got eggs, so it's here to breed, to spawn. And then big, nice, powerful fins for swimming, very strong swimmer. And see the red? The fin's a little bit red.
Yeah.
That's to get a little bit sexy during spawning time.
As er 'n bureau van Leiden op. Daar zijn sulke skole. Noem maar sulke skole. Dit is die mooiste iets om te zien.
These fish have scars from this migration up the river, through the rocks, through the fences. They have gashes on their snouts, hooked tails, missing scales. They're not dainty. These are badass fish that have been on a badass journey, and we were so fortunate to be here when they finally arrived in the Bido. So we're just following them and waiting, and hopefully we can see them breeding, spawning. That's our plan.
Okay.
Onderbekvis.
This is Jem. He's a scientist. This is Otto. He's also a scientist. But they both like to make films, mostly about me. I'm a sandfish, and my name is Onderbek.
Onderbekvis.
I live in the Cederberg, South Africa, the world! I've had a few problems along the way, like all my rivers drying up, an alien fish, and now only have a few friends left. But there's this really cool project that involves
Science! Film!
water!
With our powers combined, this is Saving Sandfish! Onderbekvis.
On the previous episode of
Saving
Sandfish, we finally got to see our first school of adult Onderbeks. We had no idea what to expect next, but knew that the time had come to embark on the quest for spawning.
Morning birdsong. And the baboons waking up on the cliffs above us. They slept up there. We slept down here. Yesterday was unbelievable. Something that I didn't think was ever going to happen or we're ever going to see, and it happened.
5 degrees, day 17. Our Bido River campsite is probably going to start coffee production in about 5 minutes. Onderbek, let it begin. My tail is red, my scales is small. My Onderbek is down, but I'm feeling tall. Today is the day when I think about a spawn. I aggregate in the riffles on the pedo. Yo, boom. Hey! Hi, Rex. One of the things we're trying to get a bit of a feel for is how far up these fish go and how quickly they travel. From previous years, we've seen signs that they may go up 5, 10, maybe even 15 kilometers. The water's getting clearer and clearer by the hour, which improves our ability to spot fish. So we're going to launch the drone and try and cover a couple of kilometers of the lower bedo and see if any fresh fish have moved up overnight. And then I just saw like this group of big, like torpedo shaped fish over the sand, just standing out, all just chilling in the current, some of them feeding. Beautiful. So I mean, we looked at this pool yesterday, we had a good look and didn't see anything. So these fish must have come up last night. You so stoked! Walking down through the flowers to a clear pool to go and spend time with fully grown Onderbekvis. Water's warmer than the air now, but this morning it was freezing. I don't know, man. The bedo in August is like all over the place in terms of its temperature and its light, and the flowers are like... We're gonna head back up to Enjo and probably start a fire, get warmed up. What's a collective noun of chicken? Gaggle. Posse. Like a chuckle, a cluckle. A cluckle of chickens, I think. Woo! Looks like some rain here up in the source area of the bedo. Pillars of rain on the Enjo mountains. Ha! Day 18, we're back again. We had a bit of rain last night, like sleeping in our tents, we could hear it pitter-pattering, and the river's just gone like this. Hasn't gone like this. Still clear though. Lekker. We've now found about 5 pools with these groups of Onderbek, so maybe about 50 fish in the river, and we're going down to see if any more fish have come up and if the fish that are in the river have moved even further upstream. My gut feel is that these little pulses of rain and these little risings of the river probably inspire the fish to keep moving further and further up towards, I guess, what to them will be the ultimate spawning grounds. I think I'm gonna leave the camera, dude. The water is freezing. Woo! 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 Wow. Is it a river? Is it a road? Wow, it's coming right over the road. Chocolate milkshakes are back, ladies and gentlemen. If I was a sandfish, I'd probably be sitting tight in those deeper pools during the day where there's lots of cover and moving by night under the stars, under the darkness. You know, earlier today we heard the unmistakable call of a fish eagle in the valley. Woo! 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 Those fish will be vulnerable during the day. Onderbekvis. It's like that Smashing Pumpkins song. My brother digs it. It's like, they only come out at night. The days are much too bright. They only come out at night. Onderbekvis. Our first look at the Pedo River at night during spring. Dude, it's so murky. This river just changes in half a day. It becomes a completely different environment, and now it's gone into full chocolate mode. Most of the bigger fish in these parts of the world, you know, they spawn over cobbles and gravel, but the sandfish seem to do everything differently. Dude, it would be pretty damn cool if we saw like the dorsal fin of a golden green Onderbek breaking the surface, just like. I think they're waiting, and if not, we'll find a pool full of plunk rimpies tomorrow.
Ek woon hier nou in die Bido Vallei met die apper en die pikke en die papsnuk stay. Ek's a Onderbek and coming up, I'm not spawning beds coming up from the Turin River to the Bido. I'm looking for the fire. I'm looking for the pool with the lekker small sand and the Waterblommetjies. I'm not looking for any other alien fish. I'm just looking for my other Onderbek massive. I'm gonna have a successful spawning migration this year. Onderbekvis.
So it's day 19. There's a few pools we're going to go check out today, see if any new fish have moved in, see if any of the fish that have been hanging out have migrated further upstream. The water's clearing, temperatures are rising, and the flowers are out. As more people come over the next few days, we're going to really be able to have this network of people walking up the Bido, looking for fish and documenting where they are and what they're doing. So we're going back down to collect a 360 camera that we left on a little ledge just next to where we saw some feeding marks from a sandfish that was maybe having its breakfast a couple of hours ago. Dude, look at that. Lacewing. Look at those wings, hey, they look like tennis rackets. Just spent the afternoon underwater with the fish, watching them feed, shoot out that mouth. They get into some pretty acrobatic positions, some of them sideways, some of them coming out the water a bit, and some of them feeding upside down. You can see the silver belly facing upwards, and yeah, putting on a real show for us today. I'm sure they are carbo loading or detritus loading or algae loading or whatever fish do before a big endurance event. We got one more GoPro left on this like beautiful sandy pool, so I'm gonna go pick that up. So I'll be a bit chilly until then. Temperature's dropping.
Got it.
Check this. It's our little GoPro rig. So we just touched the camera to some dive weights, put these in the sand so it's at sand level. Then it just looks like a little rock or something, right at the level of the fish. Pretty much the best fish monitoring contraption ever invented. I'm out of breath. That's probably not what you're supposed to do with it, eh? Oh my gosh! Oh, glowing with glory. Look at that. Border collies and icicles. Day 20. Starting off pretty fresh. Look at this. For a Cape Townian, that's like a full snowfall.
4 years ago we knew virtually nothing about this fish, where it spawned, how it was surviving in the Doring. Now we're standing by the side of the river here. Within days of this fish spawning, this little river seems to have provided some form of refuge that have enabled these fish to survive in the Doring and undertake these annual migrations up the Biddo, something that's probably been happening for hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of years. And to be a witness to the spectacle is really quite a privileged experience. Dis Onderbek se wêreld.
Day 20. Welcome to your Biddo River morning report. I half expect to see fish actually moving right up past this low water bridge. Today's got a different feeling about it, a bit of a different mood. Spawning radar is definitely on the rise. Dude, it looks like, compared to the last week, they are more aggregated and more like, poof, here we are, we're at school, we're on the bottom, we're ready to go.
These guys are excited. They want to get this on, they want to get the game on. I wonder what they're saying to the ladies to make them impressed, eh?
Have you seen my Daisy? Males and females will congregate close to the spawning area, kind of weaving in between, which is very much like a pre-spawning staging behavior. We've put this transect just downstream of where the sandfish are staging, so we get an idea of what the habitat conditions are in this pool. This is an electromagnetic flow meter, and what we're going to calculate here is the volume of water moving past a point in a unit time. And further down the river, just where the Doring comes in, we've got a level logger that measures the height of the water. The reason we want to know that is because we want to understand how much water these fish need to spawn, and once we know that, we can also then make recommendations on how much water needs to be left in the river to sustain these fish into the future.
So in some of our photos and video clips, we've noticed some lacerations on some of the fish. So we're going to go check out one of these fences just down from here and see if we can learn any more. Okay, no Onderbeks this side. This would, in theory, function as a perfect gill net.
You know, most of the year it's dry here, and now there's water.
So if I'm an Onderbek migrating from the Doring up to spawn and I get to a fence like this, you know, this could be a serious barrier because the mesh size is a bit smaller than my body. So what could happen is up I'll get and I'll get here, I'll try to get through, and, you know, either get super injured on the way through, get pierced by these pieces of wire, or worst case scenario, get stuck on the gills and drown on the fence. Between here and the Doering, there's probably at least 10 of these fences, so we need to go and check those out and identify which might be a real danger to migrating sandfish. Feels a bit dangerous, dude. Alright, well, morgen is nog 'n dag, hè?
Ja. Morgen is nog een lekker dag.
Yeah, 20, I think 26, 27 or tomorrow. Onderbek should be getting jiggy, yeah, I reckon.
Jiggy time.
We want to spawn at the tail end of the last flood of winter. So as the flows are dropping and stabilizing, and your temperatures are increasing. The red line represents the temperature. You can see the daily variation is quite high. This blue line represents the level. So you can see the two last fronts that came through. And then the flow slowly dropping and temperatures rising over this period. But then in this period we've got several fronts coming through. The temperatures are dropping again. These little blips represent small floods.
So this kind of instability in the flow and temperature from like even small fronts can probably make them feel a bit uneasy.
This is the kind of trend in temperature that they're looking for. So what we're hoping for is that trend now going in the days ahead, which I would imagine would encourage them to spawn. Flow dropping, but not too much. They're fairly large-bodied fish and they need to move through the riffles. So the riffles need to be deep enough for them to pass through.
It's looking pretty good, hey? Saturday, nice and sunny and warm. Sunday, even warmer. We're just a little bit downstream from Enjo, and there's about a 4-kilometer stretch of river that we haven't surveyed properly yet. It's an area that we know sandfish spawned in about 5 or 6 years ago.
I saw a small fish and I put my camera and I took a few pics.
So I'm gonna walk down and survey all the pools over those 4 kilometers just to look for any signs of fish. Onderbekvis.
Find any fish, Jim?
Not a single one. Every pool I got to, I was like, this is the one. There's going to be this big school of sandfish, and it's just nothing. There's still a chance we might find more, but at the moment it's looking like a mere fraction of the former sandfish numbers are still migrating today.
One fish following another, and then the front fish breaks off and then goes back to the back of the group.
It's incredible. For like 8 months of the year, it's just like this dry riverbed, and then there's water, and then just for like a month or two, everything comes out onto the dance floor. The whole school, Onderbeks, has come up into the water that's about 2 or 3 feet deep, crystal clear. They've changed their behavior a bit.
I spent 29 years in Cape Nature and I never saw this. So it's good to see it now. Good to see it here. Being here at the right time. The interesting thing will be to see if they do it over 4 or 5 days.
The interesting thing will be to see where.
Yeah.
What's
Yes.
You want to put money on it? Gravel or sand?
Bedrock cobble. But quite flat. Riffle glide, but more riffle.
It's like the last light of the day now, and they're moving into some more exposed areas. It must be quite a weird feeling for them. You know, for the whole week they've been hiding out in this deeper, slower water, and now they're moving into this faster, shallow area. Oh, look, here's 2 coming right close in. 3, 4. Oof.
Oh, what was that?
This is so cool, like observing this beginnings of a spawning ritual for the species that like there's like no papers on it, no information on it. Oh, you see that, Bruce?
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
The whole tail just came out the water in a big swirl. Quite a pink tail. So we chatted to Dean and Bruce, and they both reckon that like it's unlikely that sandfish are going to spawn in the night time, because most of their close relatives spawn in the morning or the afternoon. But because we know so little about sandfish, we're going to go and just check it out. The last thing we saw at dusk was a big group of them moving into a riffle, shallow, rocky flow. For the first time. They've been in the pool all week, so we're gonna go and just see what they're up to. If they were up here like fraying, you know, then we'd see them, but if they are up here, they're not fraying. Onderbek, if you be on a hook, this is Onderbekvis.
Onderbekvis, baby beedo. Onderbekvis, baby reveal.
Good morning, Saving Sandfish viewers. Welcome to day 22 of the search for the elusive Clan William sandfish. Today's Speedo River report: drop-in flows, definitely, and a slight increase in water clarity. The river's really now settling into its groove after the cold snap 4 days ago. Yesterday evening we saw all 34 sandfish in the pool we've been checking suddenly change behavior, move from the belly of that pool up into shallower, clearer water, more exposed, and start chasing each other, looking playful. Big shift in behavior. So today we're heading back down there at first light to see what they're up to.
Last night they were making some movements and changes in behavior and activity, chasing behavior, schooling, moving up into shallow water, which made us all very excited. But Still no sign of spawning this morning. What's really worrying is we've counted no more than 60 adult fish. And if we think back 30 to 50 years ago, where farmers who've lived in this catchment for a number of years would speak about thousands, if not tens of thousands of sandfish fighting their way from the Doring through the mud into the Biddo in order to spawn, then we get some kind of indication of just how badly the numbers have been hammered.
The 20 that have left there, looks like they've sped up the river. It's like about 1 kilometer up. It's a shallow pool, clear, bedrock, and then still about 12 or 11 down in the pool where we were before. And then Jordan was walking down the river and she found a further 3. You guys saw what, 8 up there by the cliffs? 11 here, that's
54.
18.
And then we found another 15 at least. There might be 20. Crystal clear visibility, large boulders, like I'm frothing to snorkel on there.
And where were the fish there?
They were over rock.
Towards the bottom of the pool or higher up?
Like middle, slap bang in the
Okay.
middle. It's about 70 fish in the valley.
The Onderbeks are moving.
Gaan op.
Yeah, migration.
I just got to swim with the Onderbeks. I felt like when you're swimming with them and you get to meet them, each one of them is so old. They're full of like scars and scratches and they've all got different faces and they kind of like look at you. There's a couple that were just completely still, like not moving at all, just like chilling, and I wonder what sort of journey it's been, if it's been really tiring or if they're just resting and building up energy for what their DNA knows that they need to do. And I've never spent time with an animal that's been on such a journey.
Yeah, you see them? Cool, eh? Are they bigger than you thought?
From 4 o'clock they were just in this area, and then within half an hour they started doing runs up the river, up and back.
Okay. Alright, well I'm just gonna go see if I can see any.
It's in 2014. We did a big survey of the whole Doring River, and one of our survey sites was down here, and I drove back, and at the next crossing I stopped there and I saw a small fish, and I put my camera and I took a few pics. Didn't really know what I was photographing, and then the next day when I downloaded the photo and zoomed in, I could see it was a small sandfish. So that's why that gave me the thought they might still spawn in this little river. Pretty cool. My best fish experience so far, definitely.
Dude, that's intense. So fast. Some units are back.
never catch me for it.
I feel like a chameleon. Didn't see any fish. Seeing those really big, probably really old sandfish that have come up, you know, just a few k's up from the Doring, hovering there in shallow water, some of them with big bright red tails, letting us snorkel with them. How epic is that? I've just seen fish both downstream and at this riffle here, kind of bunching up just below a rapid and then bolting up upstream. And I guess, yeah, tomorrow's quest is going to be to try and dig a bit deeper into that and see if that's spawning, if that's migrating. Secret life of the sandfish.
On the next episode of
Saving Sandfish!
We continue to follow the sandfish upriver with the hope of seeing them spawn for the very first time.
Hulle as hulle opkom, jongens, net sulke magiese sulke en as hulle afgaan lyk soos plank greenpeas want hulle mos nou hulle eiertjies gelê. Nou as dit nou sekere tyd kom, dan kom hy eiertjies nou uit. Daar sit nou die klein baba sandvisies. Dit is klein en so. Kan jy sien die ou mondjies wat so gaan en so. As hulle so, hulle moet sulke klein skooltjies by mekaar. Dit is te interessant om dit te sien.